Well. Good evening to you, one and all, and good evening to you, Ajiman Joseph in Community 9. Always ever faithful, ever sure. Godson Tenge in Amasamai, reporting live. My young and dynamic listeners. Stephen Jampo in Koforidia, good evening to you. It's been a while, and due to my night shift at work, today I'm at home and present. Emmanuel Houston in Germany, good evening to you and the family. The Canadians have been absent for a while. Yogi and family, good evening to you. I'm sure you're becoming silent listeners, which you shouldn't. Brasibido in USA. Brasibido in USA. Kwabna in USA. Good evening to you, probably afternoon at your neck of the woods. Who else? Harrietta Sweetilai in Bawe Hilltop. Good evening to you, Hineba Ya at Community 9. Tema says, I love your show and we love it when you tune in. Ever faithful, ever sure, my one and only sister, Eugenia Sintim Eddy. Ever faithful, ever sure, Rock of Ages, always tuned in. Lawyer Martin Pebu, good evening to you. You're tuned in live. Dr. Udru Osai, Professor Bob Watting, good evening to you guys, man. We love it when you tune in. Who do we have? Laurentia in Nungwa. Good evening to you, Laurentia in Nungwa. The Winneba folks, we greet you. The Cape Coast folks, we are greeting you. And Apredi Hine, obviously, my senior brother, Koji Ahine himself, relaxing in the couch and tuning, making Monday, getting over the Monday blues, just relax in the sofa and tune in and wonder what opinion is going to roll on today. Kuku born and the tag, Kwesiajimai. And the crew from Dodowa, there's a whole cult in Dodowa who always tune in on Mondays. Amazing. Anytime I attend the function, you won't believe they're all tuning on Monday, led by the chief himself. We're grateful and thank you for all those who make time to tune in. And by this time, producer says playtime is over. And we'll heed to his instructions. Folks, and some of you have learned to recite this profound words of wisdom. Some always wait for me to hear, but either way, once you're here is good enough, folks. And I say, until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. And as you know, I would say that again. Folks, I said, until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting will always glorify the hunter. Hello, and welcome to the most opinionated hour on radio and the nation's thought-provoking hour. I am Nana Ansah Kwao IV, Chief of the Little Republic of Akwemu Edumasan, and I say, thank God it's Monday, the show that gets you to get over your Monday blues. No, Monday is a dreaded day to go to work, but knowing that after work, you can just sit back, tune in, and have an in-depth conversation. Another fine opportunity, folks, an opportunity not to be taken for granted, folks. An opportunity not to be taken for granted. A ritual to be very much appreciated from many perspectives. Nation that enjoys media freedom to the jealousy of many. A station that grants us this platform to share uncensored opinion. I don't know what other station will give us that you have an hour of prime time to tune in and share whatever your thoughts or opinions are, uncensored. We don't take it for granted. It's very, very much appreciated, and kudos to this big platform. Welcome to the ritual. I call that my opinion only. on Joy 99.7 FM, Mondays at this time. Make it a point to tune in and join us every Monday. Our topic today, folks, nature solution. Nature solution. Let us all gather and make truth good. Now, what do I mean by nature solution? Today, I want to push an agenda. Oh, yes, I want to set an agenda. And I believe the solution lies in nature. Folks, one of the world's greatest curses is abundance. Oh, yes. Contrary, we always see abundance as, oh, I've been blessed abundantly, I've been blessed abundantly. But abundance can breed contempt and laziness. It can let one be dangerously content. And in a nation building, anytime you don't add on or improve, you're retrogressing, because there's nothing like standing still in nation building while your population is increasing, while your social demands are increasing, while things are changing. You can never stay the same as a nation and say, oh, we stayed the same. It means you retrogress. You have to add on to your road infrastructure, health infrastructure, education. You have to add on to everything. Even if you want to stay still, you must add on. So in nation building, there is nothing like standing still. Now let's bring our thoughts to how we have treated our forest. 27 million hectares. Down to about 7 million. It tells you that we saw the thing in abundance and therefore we attacked it and destroyed it. Abundance. Waters, folks. Once upon a time, we had 1,001 rivers, streams, waterfalls, lakes, name it. 1,001. So again, we set out on our destruction path because there was just too much. There was plenty. And today, look at us. So abundance, folks, abundance can be a curse instead of it being a blessing. But folks, today I am talking about the sun, a natural resource we have plenty of. And no, we can't destroy it. Thank God. We can't destroy it. But we must use it more. Folks, once upon a time, we had more power than needed. So the focus was to get us onto the national grid so that government could pay the independent power producers by us using the power on the grid. They collect their monies and then pay. Now, obviously, the deals that were signed were too high. Too high. We did so many shows about it. So they could not pass on the right tariffs for us to pay. It would have just broken our banks. So subsidies were setting, creating shortfall. We're creating a shortfall. Then, folks, you have the government establishments who don't pay. More shortfalls. Then those who steal power, obviously, plus transmission losses. So a great percentage of power is lost. From the onset, a great percentage of the power is lost, unaccounted for, or not paid for. Now, this gap has to be plugged by the state. And the state will get it from us one way or the other. Tax on petrol, tax on this, tax on that. They will get it from us one way or the other. So the monies that has to go into infrastructure that improves the state, that builds the state so we are not stagnated, folks, it goes to plug in this hole, which is almost perpetual, because forever, all the electricity that we are supplying, we don't charge the right amount for it, which means forever there is going to be this gap between how much is supplied and how much we paid, which has to be paid for. That's why I'm looking at the natural solution. Folks, we have the sun 6 to 6. 6 to 6. Blessings. 6 to 6. Free energy. Now, currently, folks, our daily consumption of fuel is about 100,000 barrels daily. Finished fuel. 100,000 barrels. Finished fuel every day. Our Ministry of Energy at the moment is on breaking point. The minister is out there screaming and shouting and, trying to scramble everything he can get to make sure that the energy sector stays afloat. And yet, the sun is shining on our heads. Yet, the sun is shining on our heads. 100,000 barrels every single day. There's about 159 liters so it's about 45 gallons per barrel times 100,000. That's a lot of gallons that we need. That's a lot of pressure on the cedi to get dollar to get it. So while we are sustaining the cedi currently and the dollar is afloat, if we don't look at how to minimize this pressure, I don't know how long it will go before the tables turn negatively on us again. Folks, we do sign up, we do sign up to more IPPs now, or do we have to get some people off it? Now, I don't know what the equilibrium is, right? The experts will know. But we should ease the number of people on the grid so we don't have a situation where the grid is also left still and nobody is connected to the grid, because that's also another wahala. But we should find it so that we're not putting pressure to increase capacity, because everybody knows increase capacity, which is too expensive. And unfortunately, some of the deals we sign to increase capacity is even diabolical. But I'm sure there are experts who can tell us that if every household is doing 30%, 20%, 40%, if commercial sector is doing 50-50, we won't have to have the pressure of increasing as much as we do now. But don't forget that the population is also growing by nearly 1 million a year. Nearly 1 million a year. And as the population grows, your need for energy also grows. And are we going to rely only on fossil fuel to feed this population growth? I think it's not sustainable when the sun is literally just beating our heads. Free. There should be a policy, I think, to have a certain percentage, again, to be determined by experts on domestic and commercial consumption, which should be mandatory. Which should be mandatory, significant, and intentional. Not to render the grid useless, but also not to put pressure to increase the grid. The advantages, folks, are many. Clean and cheap energy goes a long way. Clean and cheap energy goes a long way. So currently, the panels are duty-free, but the ancillaries that have to go with it have the full whack of duties on it. The batteries and the transformers, all those things that go with it have a full whack on it. Maybe the state could look at it. Maybe we can look at that. Make it worthwhile. Because the initial capital sometimes is the headache. So maybe we can look at that. Increase the education, the need for cleaner fuel, the need for cheaper fuel, cheaper energy. And we should be deliberate about it. Because the future is now green. People and lots of people and lots of industries are giving money for green energy. Companies that don't have the choice but have to burn fuel usually would sponsor you to have green energy so that they can offset their carbon. Let's look into it. Let's look into it. The pressure, folks, on the city to buy 100,000 barrels a day is not sustainable. And of which many of it will be unaccountable. Of which many barrels, if we were to do the proper data and the proper analysis, those who stole, those who don't pay, those who get it for free, lots of barrels are just going for free. But at the end of the day, we must find the dollars to go and look for the barrels. Otherwise, we're going to have our proverbial doomsday, which we hate and loathe. Again, folks, if we're looking at reducing barrels, then we are looking about electric cars. Now, once upon a time, when you talked about electric cars, it was though you're talking about ghosts or some demon. But today, folks, Ghana ranks number 1 in electric vehicle usage, EV cars. Ghana ranks number 1 in the whole of Africa. There's something about us in technology, just like we have done with mobile phone penetration, internet usage, the same way we are doing very well with EV cars. If we can get solar so that these power stations where the electric cars can charge are based on solar, strategically, put one at Bunsu, put one at Nsewam, Suhum, along the road, all these major roads going to Takrady, going to Kumasi, going to Pram and Flao. Put these stations there. Individuals are doing it. So I don't see how come it can be an impossible task for the state. I don't think so. If we can do that, so that we eliminate the range anxiety, because one of the main things about people getting EV cars is how far can I go before I run out of electric? And if I do, where do I top up? So those who usually commute in Accra don't have a problem at all. They don't have a problem. In fact, the only problem is the cost. If they can get the cost of the car down, I'm sure half Accra will just get off the combustion engine and get to electric car vehicles. And again, it will help the state. If you're not importing so much fuel, it will help. Fuel stations too, instead of buying only fuel, can now put electric charging stations to make more money from charging electric cars. It doesn't mean your business is going to collapse. No, it means you change from part fuel and part electric charging. So people can come in there, park for 20 minutes, charge, and go away. But ultimately, folks, more money in the pocket of us and the state would reduce the pressure on the city, getting 100,000. Because the way is only up. We can only increase how much fuel we are getting, because the population is growing. It's one subject that we haven't touched on yet. Nobody wants to touch them, but the population is growing, and that population needs energy. They are not ghosts. They need energy. So I'm thinking, maybe the time is now. Maybe the time is now. Usually when there's a new government, there's so much goodwill. Everybody is looking up to you. So maybe the time is now to say, look, let's get on board. Let's do this. And everybody should benefit. And it looks like a no-brainer. Even though maybe I may sound a bit idealist, it may be a no-brainer. It may be a no-brainer. I don't have all the technicalities of it as to what percentage. And folks, one of the things is that most of our houses consume so much energy because of how we build. I mean, there are houses in Ghana today that you can't simply turn off the lights. There's no sunlight coming in the house. So constantly you must have light on. There are houses that you cannot live in without air conditioning. Why? Because we've glazed the house and we are living in heat. So All this as power demand on the grid, which the state has to provide at a subsidized cost. No matter how we think the electricity is going up, we still have to subsidize it, because if we're going to charge the full whack, we're dead. So today I'm just, like I said, setting an agenda and asking, if solar was made cheaper, if EV cars were cheaper, and the range anxiety in terms of you can drive from Accra to Takoradi, and you know that for every 100 kilometers you drive, there's a charging point where you can stop and top up. And even though averagely every electric car will give you minimum I am out 200 kilometers. Now is the smallest. Usually they can give you up to 600 kilometers, which means you can literally drive to Takoradi on one charge. But just knowing that on the way there are charging points in maybe every 100 kilometers, just gives you that reassuring. Because when we are driving our petrol cars and our diesel cars, sometimes it's on red, but you don't panic, because in the next 60 miles or next 60 kilometers there's a station and you top up and go. That's the thing. It's just the anxiety. But with electric, when it says that you have 20% left and 80 kilometers to drive, you start panicking, thinking, in 80 kilometers, will I find somewhere to charge my car? So the state can be intentional, the state can be deliberate, and within a short time, if we target to reduce by even 30,000 barrels a day, it's significant. Money that can be channeled into education, into health, into road infrastructure, into agriculture. It can be channeled into so many places if we can even aim for 30,000 barrels a day. Maybe even push it to 50,000. Why not? The sun is up there. The sun is up there. During the day, the grid should be rendered useless. Why? Because almost every house should have panels that should be able to serve them from 6 to 6. Even if you don't buy batteries that you can use during the night, during the day, the grid should rest. Which means we are not burning so much fuel. We don't need all those barrels to power the grid during the day. But hey, it's an agenda setting. What do you think? Get on the phones and talk to me. And it's 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. What do you think? Nation building deliberately and with intention. You set a positive agenda, drive everybody on, and we see how it works. Who is going to be my first caller on this issue? Let me see if I'm being idealistic or if it's something that we can talk about, because I think that 100,000 barrels a day, and I was doing the numbers, and averagely, $1.50 per liter on the average, times 100,000 barrels is just too much. But Kwame is in Dansbar. Hello, Kwame.
Good evening, Nana.
Good evening.
Great idea. I've been thinking about it for some years. I think one of the presidential candidates also said something like that. I think we should get down and work on this. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That's Kwame in Dasbar thinks it's a great idea. So I'm not being an idealist on this issue. But we must definitely increase. My brother has called Ajiman Joseph in Community 9. Hello, Ajiman.
Hello, Nana. I hope you're doing well.
I'm very good.
Yes. And now you are putting up a lot of issues across, and you need to summarize them and make a point.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, we all knew only Akosomo, the hydroelectric for us. And as you said it right, the population kept on growing, and we were not thinking about any other alternatives. And yet, there was a lot of pressure on Akosomo. At a point in time, I was wondering why Ghana here we're buying power outside the country to power the electricity, and we know perfectly that we are buying dollar to come and sell it in cities. How do you make profit? Or at a point in time when there was a crisis in petroleum sector, was it such that some entities were using the electricity without paying? When we are buying something to sell, why then do you go into loss? It's a serious problem. Now, you also spoke about electric vehicles. As we already said, I know definitely when you are driving, after every 3 hours, you have to park and relax so that the engine will also cool down a bit. So I think when you have enough charging points on the highway, it will help. Once you are relaxing our body and relaxing the engine, then you are charging the battery. So I think your point is perfectly made. God bless you.
Thank you very much. I'm going straight to Ashiaman because Derek is there. Hello, Derek.
Hello, Doug.
Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you for your submission. Yeah, this is an excellent submission. And I must say, you are not being idealistic, but for a country who want to profit from every procurement, every procurement process, I'm not sure they'll be very intentional putting this into practice. You made mention of electric vehicles and so on and so forth. Yes. We can put that aside and even just focus on one region where the national grid will be from solar. So we can focus on the northern region where we cut them from the grid, and then what's the name? Because the sun is quite intense over there, and we are wasting it. But like I said, I'm not sure this government or any government will be so intentional in what putting this into practice, because they need to make some money from every procurement process. Right. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. All right.
Thank you very much. But yeah, that procurement evil thing is a major issue with us, because some of the procurement of the IPPs that were done in the past, I mean, well, I won't go there. That's a subject for another day. But I'm going straight to USA because my brother Kwabna is there. Hello, Kwabna.
Hello, Nana. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Kwabna. Or good evening, Ghana.
Exactly.
Yeah, Nana, I joined the program late, but I guess you were discussing about the shift in energy policy, right?
Let me just give you a summary. I'm just saying that if we can have a deliberate policy where a percentage of commercial and domestic users are supposed to go solar, so therefore you make the solar panels and its ancillaries, worthwhile for them to go, it will reduce pressure on the grid. Because currently, between the grid and our petrols that we drive up and down, we are doing 100,000 barrels a day. 100,000 barrels of finished products a day. And that's putting too much pressure on the currency. So if we can shift into electric, it will minimize the pressure there. That's what I was looking at.
Nana, you are very innovative. You are very right. And that's why I always advocate for you to run for president. But you don't want to. But the issue is that does the Ghanaian government have the capacity to do that?
I don't want to knock government, even though they've fallen short a bit. I don't want to knock them too much, because at least with the solar panels, now you can bring it free of charge. However, the batteries and the transformers to go with it, that one is a killer whack.
So you're talking about importing the product, right?
Well, yeah.
I thought you were going to say, hey, I thought you were going to say the Ghanaian government should invest in research so that Ghanaians can go to work, go to the laboratory, right, and design solar panels so that we can manufacture them in Ghana. Let me give you one point.
Well, yeah, that's probably
the budget of the United States. The budget of the United States for 2026. They have shifted their energy policy back to the old energy, right? The previous government, Barack Obama and Biden, they invested in solar panels and EVs. This administration has removed all the credit, so it means it's going to be very expensive to manufacture renewable energy in the United States for Ghanaians to import it. So what you are saying right now is going to be difficult. But hey, they have an overwhelming majority in Parliament. That is where you need them to put up their thinking cap, right? And that's why I told you they haven't brought any big idea to Parliament. It's going to be difficult. I'm telling you, unless they look up to China, but it's going to be difficult. And if we are going to be importing the renewable energy from the West, then we are not putting up our thinking caps. We have to go back to the drawing board. But the Ghanaian government should start to invest in research so that we can manufacture all these products in Ghana. And that's the way to go.
Comrade, do we always have to reinvent the wheel? I mean, there are certain things where if somebody has done it, maybe you can just bring him to come and set up and then manufacture in Ghana.
I'm telling you, in 2026, it's going to be expensive to manufacture EV cars in the United States. And for you to import them, then when they get to the Ghanaian market, nobody can afford them because they have removed all the credit. So there's no incentive for
EV cars. When you're talking EV cars, you go to China. Who's going to buy EV cars in America? You have to buy from China.
Okay,
they are the world leaders.
How many of them like to buy Chinese brands? Everybody wants to drive the Land Rovers and the BMWs and all that.
With EV cars, the Chinese have really broken into the market. And I'm also not on this. Maybe I'm from this school of thought where I'm thinking you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If somebody's done it well, why not?
Yeah, but
from them, because that's not our strength.
What is encouraging about your proposal is for the NDC majority to put up their thinking cap. They have an overwhelming majority. They should get back to work and change their energy policy. Can they do that? And that's the capacity I'm talking about. They can't. Because what they do is, when they stay in opposition, they become idle. They become lazy. They don't do anything. They write some banal. What was the name? Professors or something. And then when they come to office, now they come to worry us with, this is the way to go. Now they have to work in opposition. That's what they have to do. But now they are overwhelming majority, so they should sit in their committees and work. Because it's not going to be easy.
Well, it's not. But thank you very much. It's not. But this is one of the things where we need the good energy experts, Bembuachi and Coles, those who have read all the details about energy. I'm just putting it in from the layman point of view. But I am sure there are people who can really calculate that, listen, this is what percentage that domestic and commercial load is putting on the grid. And that's X amount of barrels, and therefore, if we can take this, it will save this amount of barrels. There are people who can do that calculation, and states can say, well, based on that, maybe from the next 6 months, import this thing free or at a discount or something. So you chop and change to do that. But let me go because Nana Kwesi is in Hacho. Hello, Nana Kwesi. Let me hear you. Would you go solar if it was accessible or within your price range?
Of course. I mean, why would I want to go solar if it's affordable? And then I won't have to
Nana, you have to position yourself. Your line is. Hello? Oh dear, I think the line dropped. Have I got Shem on the line?
Good evening.
Good evening, Shem.
Yeah, Nana.
Obviously, greetings to Asantua and your old man. I've been, greetings to your old man.
So I'll tell him. FM. I'll tell
Good.
him. Excellent idea, Nana. We have sunlight for 12 hours, so we should start harnessing that energy. So I agree with your idea. The only bit is probably we should have Ghanaian EV companies. We shouldn't outsource that part to any foreign country for them to also, come and live off us. We are just 30 million. We can get a Ghanaian company to do that. Already, I think this guy, Kantanka, has already started doing vehicles. So if perhaps, I don't know whether any investors or the government themselves would like to invest in an EV session for that. And then the government people can be contracting vehicles, EV vehicles from him. And then other government agencies, small. So we're building upon the idea. That's how Tata and all these companies came into fruition from India. And then all of a sudden, Tata owns Jaguar and the major car brands. So we can do it. It's a laudable idea. We should, actually. It's not about we can. We should. And it's not something that can tell us they are now going to calculate the trajectory to enter Mars and do this matter. Thank you very much.
I like that. Well, I don't know. One of the things I was thinking is, idealism or something. But I think from the comments I'm getting, it's something that those in power, if they are listening, maybe we are up for it.
Oh, yeah.
We are up for it.
It's a low-hanging fruit. They can do it so easily. We just need to equip maybe a little Kantanka a little bit, and then you diversify and get an EV section, and we will do it. This is not something we can do it actually within these 3 years if we do our plus and minus, and we take our money from people who have $97 million for Cathedral. Oh, Nana. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Evit me a starting factory 0302216541. Leo is in Lakeside. Hello, Leo.
Yes. Nana, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. I'm thinking that for us in Africa, at times we copy blindly.
Okay.
We must do some of these, our development, according to our culture and the level of our development. You see, there's something we always say, common sense, but I don't think we are using it. Let me tell you, for the electricity, this policy of sending electricity to every corner of Ghana, fine, it's good. Let's pursue it. But it should be a gradual thing. You will discover that when you are traveling all over Ghana and you get to these areas in the daytime, you see lights on. People have left their lights on. They've either gone to the market or they've gone to the farm. My suggestion to this regard is that perhaps in the rural areas where the energy is not so much needed, in the daytime, we can put it off so that we bring it on only in the evening from, let's say, 6 to 6 in the morning. In the daytime, maybe because people iron their things before going to school and things, maybe from 6 to 8. And then I also realized, because in Adenta here where I am, our water doesn't flow every time. But nobody's complaining of water shortage because we all have tanks. I think the water flows only 3 times in a week. So let us intentionally and deliberately adapt some of these policies to cut down on the cost we spend in the provision of them. This is my suggestion.
Thank you very much. I mean, some of these towns may have cool stores and stuff like that, which if you turn it off, then that's it. The whole community has lost it, or there's one charging point for their mobile phones which they may lose out. So that's where maybe the solar thing comes in instead of just taking them off the grid. But initially, when I was writing the show, I was discussing with Ziggy, and I was telling Ziggy that my house in Ekropon, which my grandpa built and commissioned in 1950, 59. The house literally sits on a reservoir. And so we harvest all the rainwater. And that's the water we use throughout the year. 24/7 is rainwater we pump from underground into the tanks. So, I mean, if we were going to extend this renewable thing, it's something that we can look at. That if you're building a house, just as you're doing your septic tank, have maybe 1,000 liters as parts, so you have maybe 30% solar or wind or renewable energy, maybe 1,000 liters of rainwater or something, receptacle that you can save. But this all takes pressure off the state, which is put on the individual who will eventually benefit. But let me go to Ken in Kaswa. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Nana Ansah Kwao.
Yes, sir.
This is Clement, not Ken. Clement Pate, your son.
Oh, Clement. This is the first time you're calling my show.
Sorry, sir. Hello.
Hello, Clement. Let me hear you.
All right, Nana. One question.
That's it.
Okay, so Nana, I have my contribution this evening is, in fact, there are two, and I'll be very brief with them.
Sure.
Now, about the renewable energy, or let's say Ghana going green, it's a good thing, but are we really ready as a people to actually support government? Governance, I understand, you have the politicians who play their role, and we as citizens also have our role to play. Now, assuming government reduces the import duties on how do you call it, solar panels and all the inverters and all the other things that would make up the like in a nutshell, this whole solar thing, it's good, but then what I know is the cost build up is usually very high.
Yeah.
Yes, it's usually very high. The initial setup, like you mentioned earlier on, is very.
Clement, let me add to what you say. You see, what I spoke to Ben Boachi, who's director for ASEP, so energy guy, and he said that when they were reducing the prices of the batteries, there were people who were buying the batteries, and then they just charge the battery with the normal ECG electricity and then use it as a generator. But then that puts a lot of pressure on the grid as well. So it defeats the object. So it's a matter of knowing whether you're going to charge the batteries with solar or you're going to charge the batteries with AC. That's why they've left the taxes on the batteries. But I feel there's always a way around it. Whereas, I mean, if you have one solar panel, they know that one solar panel can charge 10 batteries or 2 batteries, and therefore you're only entitled to something amount of batteries. I'm sure there should be a simple policy that we should work around it. But the ultimate goal is, how do we reduce our fuel bill to ease pressure on the good old city? That's the whole idea. But not to use this free sun is well, somebody says common sense. But let me say thank you to our international producers. Mr. Stephen Agler, I just saw you there. Thank you very, very much for signing here. By international producers, I go Maribel, Oliver, and the legendary Ziggy. Thank you very much to doing the international production. Today we are looking at Ghana, intentionally and deliberately using sustainable energy for our own selfish reasons to reduce the pressure on increasing the grid and the pressure on buying fuel to reduce pressure on our good old city, so that this city appreciation actually sustains, because otherwise it's going to be really, really. Joy 99.